Welcome to Storytime with Mama V. I'm your host, Victoria, but you can call me Mama V. In this show, we go on storytime adventures where magic exists, where brave knights and courageous princesses come out to play, and where the good always defies evil. Now, get comfy, because storytime is about to begin. Hi there, and welcome to Storytime with Mama V. I'm so excited to read to you today. Today, we're reading a book called Azalea, and this book is a very powerful message about how spreading love and kindness can heal the world around you. Let's get right into our story. Here we go. Once, there was a flower whose name was Azalea. She had 5 beautiful petals. She lived in a garden with other flowers who also had 5 beautiful petals. She was happy. One day, Azalea was transferred to a different garden. These flowers only had 4 or less petals. One flower even had no petals at all, and he was very mean. "Go away, we don't want you here," said the petal-less flower, and he pushed Azalea to the ground. Poof! This made Azalea sad. She thought about pushing him back, but instead, she said, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but this garden is where I was placed, so this garden is where I shall stay." Suddenly, the petal-less flower grew one beautiful petal.
"Oh, I've got a new petal. Look at that."
Seeing his new petal made him happier. He left Azalea alone and walked away. The next morning, the flowers were all in line, each waiting to enjoy the water that sprinkled down from above. When it was Azalea's turn to be delightfully showered, the 2-petaled flower behind her jumped in front and took her place in line. This made Azalea angry. She thought about yanking him out of her way and getting her spot in line back. Instead, she said, You must be extremely thirsty. I'm happy to exchange places in line with you so that you can get the water you need." Suddenly, the 2-petaled flower realized it now had 3 petals. This made him happy. He turned around to Azalea and apologized for cutting in front of her.
"Geez, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that."
Later in the day, a 4-petaled flower spotted Azalea, allowing a caterpillar to feed off of her leaves. In Azalea's old garden, they always fed the caterpillars and other insects because these insects needed food from their leaves to survive. In the new garden, however, the flowers would smack the insects away with their leaves and petals to keep them off. "Hey, get away from me! Don't eat from my flower! Shoo, shoo, shoo!" Azalea once thought about joining the other flowers by smacking away the insects. After all, they were pests. Instead, she decided that feeding them was the right thing to do. When the 4-petaled flower saw Azalea's smile as she fed the caterpillar, it made her want to do the same. So, she stood tall and spread her petals, inviting insects to come forth. After feeding a couple of whiteflies, the 4-petaled flower grew its final petal. She was very happy. She decided she would never smack an insect again. As the days went by, Azalea noticed that the new garden was starting to look a lot like her old garden. The flowers were starting to have more beautiful petals, and they were much nicer than before. This made Azalea very happy. The next morning, Azalea was transferred back to her old garden. An old wise flower was very pleased to see her. Azalea told the old flower about the other garden. "When I first got to the new garden, they were not very nice to me at all. But after a while, they all began to change. They're so much kinder and more beautiful. I don't know what happened." The old flower smiled and responded, "You happened." Azalea didn't understand, so the wise flower continued. "Love and kindness is passed on from one flower to the next. So if a flower is unkind, it means they're not receiving enough love and kindness. You can help an unkind flower gain its petals by being good to them, even when it may be difficult. That is what you have done in that other garden, and you have done a great thing, said the old wise flower. Now, Azalea was happier than ever before. This is a very powerful message. Instead of, treating somebody the same way they treat you, as tempting as it is, be above that. Treat them with kindness, and you'll see how beautifully that is reciprocated and how you can change somebody's day, somebody's entire mood just by showing them some love and kindness. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the show, we're available on all major podcasting platforms. It would also be greatly appreciated if you can leave a rating and a review on Apple or Spotify podcasts. Share the episode with another friend. And I will see you on the next episode of Storytime with Mama V. Bye for now.